You're gonna want to hear this. The following is guaranteed to knock your ears right off. Not intended for the faint of heart.
And we're back. Hello, Matt.
What's up, Liam?
Not much.
How you doing, man?
Good. How was your day?
It's great. Who's our guest tonight?
Cesar.
Hello, hello.
And we have Bree.
Hello.
What are we gonna be talking about?
What ifs history scenarios. So historical events, and what would happen if things were different. Whoa.
Crazy.
Are we gonna go down the line where you weren't born? So what if I want to explore?
Yeah, we could do that one. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Well, you're mean.
It's just an idea.
Okay.
He's just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of agreeing with that idea.
Thanks for the idea, Matt.
No problem.
You happy?
Yeah.
I think the only one unhappy here is you.
Fair. Makes sense.
It's plausible.
It's very plausible.
Don't we have social medias?
We do, Cesar.
Do we?
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to get us
we're on
past all these weird, awkward pauses.
Yeah, we're on Instagram. Lounging.around.podcast. We're on Instagram and on YouTube and Spotify. Lounging Around Podcast.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and follow for great content. You'll like this content.
Debatable.
And yeah, we're having a great day, everyone.
You sure convinced me.
Oh my god, my friend Dylan wanted me to say Cyrus Adox or something like that.
What?
I don't know. Cyrus Adox.
Nice. Very smart friend.
Alright, we're going on break. We'll be right back.
Oh, wait.
And we're back. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt.
What's up?
Not much, buddy.
Yeah, my mic isn't working. So just give me a sec.
Your
Bring my
mic's not
headphones.
working, your headset's not working.
My headset.
Okay.
So, just give me a sec.
Alright.
You just go.
Caesar,
Hi.
how's it going, bud?
I'd say it's going pretty well, I'm not gonna lie.
You have fun at wrestling today?
I mean, when is it never fun at wrestling?
Oh, I know.
If only you didn't leave randomly halfway through all the time.
Well, you know why I'm leaving halfway through. You know why I left.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling your leg.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy though. Just recently,
Bree will be right back.
Just recently, I was watching a TikTok, right?
Mhm.
And I saw a documentary about you. I didn't know they made one on you. They talked about grizzly bears.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, they talked about their rather.
Yeah. And I found one about little weasels.
Yeah, they were talking about their rather.
That reminded me
lazy
of you.
life.
Anyways.
I didn't know you could be a mama bear.
All right. Moving on. All right. The first one we're going to jump right into it, is so we're doing a topic tonight is about what if history. So we're going to take moments in history or historical kind of events almost and kind of change it a little bit, I guess, and basically say, like, what happens if this happened instead of this? You know? Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
Great. All right, we'll go back, Bree.
Thank you.
All right.
It's probably not gonna work.
I mean, we can hear
It's
you.
okay, Matt. We can hear you. You can hear me.
Yeah. All right.
Perfect.
We could see your beautiful face more.
Yeah. No.
Okay, the first one is, what if mythology, which is like kind of, I should say, like, what happens if Christianity, all the like religions of today's world were gone, and only people believed in like the Greek gods, the Roman gods, the Norse gods, and like kind of like what would the world look like if we instead believed in those kind of gods today?
Well, for start, we would have probably never had a holy war, obviously, because
No. Probably not.
So,
Well, you never know. I think we might have had like a mythology kind of war
We would
or a
have had-
pagan war.
we definitely would have had some kind of mythology war, but all the Crusades probably would have never happened of any kind like that.
Yep.
Jerusalem would have never actually became a place because Jerusalem was founded off of off of Catholic and Christian belief. So
I think there would be more wars between Egypt and Greece. I guess you can say, like, if those two religions were powerful.
I feel like they would probably end up being like the modern day superpowers, and they would probably be the only ones, really.
Yeah, with religious wise, definitely. I think that, like, you have like these statues of like Jesus in Brazil. They're like massive statues, and you could probably take like the Aztec gods and like potentially put one of them as that statue over Brazil, which is crazy because like instead of like having Jesus Christ there, you can have a different figure, which is kind of interesting to think how everything would be different. Because I think if these people still believe in all these gods, they would have to pray every time they go out on voyage ships, the like Norwegians and like Vikings and stuff. And same thing with the Greeks with certain other aspects of their life. They have to pray for things to happen.
And then also just think about how they're not just going to be praying to one God. They're going to be praying to several.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be praying to the different ones just based off of what they're hoping for in the end.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's going to be... Because you got to think, like, different gods for each of them are going to have different aspects of your life. Like, Hera, like, fertility for them. Like, same thing. Or, no, Freya from Norse for, like, fertility. That's what they had to do a lot. Like, give sacrifices and praises for her to have like a good healthy like baby almost. What about you, Matt?
So is this just Greek mythology or like mythology in general?
Mythology all over the world was still a thing, so like imagine like all the different mythologies were kind of still around.
Well, we'd probably then be very held back scientifically speaking, because if it wasn't disproven by like now, then we wouldn't have known what's like in the sky, you know, how rain works or something like that.
Yep.
Because then it's all because of the gods, at least back in those days. So, yeah. We'd probably be looking more like barbaric, maybe like, I don't know, probably like how our houses used to look like, I don't know, like 1,000 years ago or something.
You think we'd still have the kind of same structures?
Yeah.
You saying like we wouldn't advance in
Probably
technology?
like, yeah, a lot worse technology.
Well, think about like weathermen are like, Thor's angry today. Thor's showers will be all over the county.
Or showers.
Yeah. No.
No. Well, think about like Zeus's thunder overhead.
There'd be no predictions.
No protection.
The gods were really angry this week. We
Yeah.
got showers coming in.
We got thunder and rain from Thor and Zeus.
And Poseidon.
And Poseidon. Tsunami hit because Poseidon was angry.
Then I'd say that they'd probably kill a bunch of people that would try to like come up with like a different religious opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously. So it would probably be more of like a monarchy.
Well, I think even then, like, they would probably do more sacrifices. All those cultures had different types of sacrifices they would do.
I was going to say that. It'd just be sacrifice after sacrifice.
Yeah, especially, like, the Aztecs.
Yeah.
Like, they would just... The amount of people that would be sacrificed would be crazy. Because, they like, one day they did, like, 60 or 84,000 people and sacrificed all those, like slaves, I think, to, like, one god.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, it also just makes you kind of wonder in general, like with how some of these religions were just so strongly believed by so many people. Like, if all of them still existed, could all of them really exist at one point? Like, I feel like there would just be too much different beliefs in the world that it would almost be kind of like a holy world war, if you will. Like,
Well,
like a belief world war.
the Romans, the Greeks, and the Egyptian mythologies all around the same time.
But the Chinese beliefs were all well before.
Yes, but what I'm saying, like, some of the mythologies were still around. Even the Aztecs were still around the same time. The only one that, like, I think wasn't around the same time was, like, the Norse one and, like, the Celtics.
Yeah.
And even, like, the Japanese mythology. So there's, like, a there's different time periods for all these mythologies, but we're kind of saying like these societies that are they're still around. Some of them still believe in those mythologies or those multiple gods. So, yeah. Oh yeah.
What do you think? Would society look like, Bree?
I think there'd be like a lot of fighting and a lot of sacrifices, and there wouldn't be. I mean, not that there's one central belief system now,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like most of the world is Christian.
Yeah, or Muslim or something else. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I still believe that most of the world is Christian.
Do you think it'd be more of a chaotic world or more divided because of like all the different mythologies around the world?
Yeah.
Instead of like having like only a few of something.
Yeah, I think it'd be chaotic, and I feel like not that the Greeks or the Roman, like those gods, didn't have like a secure belief system, but I feel like they justified things that weren't really justified or should be justified. So I feel like now, like when people believe in Christianity, it's like you have these set of beliefs that make you not a good person, but like decent and like thinking and
Yeah.
you know, and like free will. But like with them, I feel like everything you do is do for them, or else this is gonna happen. It's not like free will. It's like do this or you're gonna be punished.
Yep.
And I feel like that just leads to a chaotic world.
Yeah, no. I agree. All right, that was good.
Say that was a pretty in-depth topic.
All right, on to the next one. So what if Native Americans in America were able to kick out all the colonists and still owned like all of America today?
So what if
Like what if Native
America
America
never took over the West?
Yes, like what if America never took over the West and it's no Americans anymore, but it's all Native Americans instead?
Like no one colonized here.
No one was able to colonize because they kept kicking them out constantly, and now it's just one kind of big mass where all Native Americans live instead. Do you think that they would kind of advance, or do you think they would kind of stick to the more of the traditions? Like, what do you think? Go with Matt first.
I'd say that there'd probably be a big genocide because they're gonna be like way further behind than like people in the eastern place.
Yeah.
Yeah, Europe. And they'll come in and just wipe them all out. They'll probably get like a 20 KD.
20K.
God.
And then yeah, it's just probably free land again.
So Matt just imagines it's just coming over here and they're all in their Native American outfits with their bows, and Matt's coming over here with his M16 being like, my land.
I was thinking the same thing, to be honest.
Well, I was thinking like that they would probably
No.
You're wrong.
No, probably not.
if you want to be honest, I was thinking because America wasn't just like kind
What
of
if I
one.
don't want you to be honest?
Because America wasn't just one tribe. What I think would happen, in my honest opinion, is that instead of like we have states say like Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, and all that, instead we have like states based around each Native American tribe, so there'd be multiple tribes having like their own land sections they owned, and I guarantee they would have religion kind of placed into these areas, but I think they would probably have their own churches, churches built of their own kind of style with their own beliefs and gods.
Didn't the tribes fight each other though?
Yes, they did. So I was thinking that maybe they would be unified as they kind of got older and all that, because there's multiple different figures in Native American history that have actually unified multiple tribes.
Name one.
Tecumseh.
Like
Who the
Pocahontas.
heck is that? Made up name.
Now Pocahontas did not. Tecumseh?
Yeah.
He was a
Why are you
Native
just making up
American
names? That's
that
nice.
fought in the War of 1812.
Yeah. There's no War of 1812.
There was a War of 1812 in America.
Probably a War of 1813.
There was a war during 1813.
I knew
It was the War of 1812.
I knew it though.
Yeah,
Called
not
it.
hard to know. Yeah, so like example like Tecumseh, like Red Horse, like these a bunch of like Native American figures that unified a lot of tribes together. So I feel like over time, like people like Tecumseh and Red Horse would probably unify majority of sections of America over time, and eventually they kind of come into one nation with like their respected tribes and
then we come
states.
and wipe them all out.
You do.
I feel like they'll be like in a medieval era
No,
while we're like in the era right now.
yeah.
Well, I feel like America is the world superpower, so like we went in and saved like World War II. Like who was gonna save that
Yeah,
if it wasn't us?
it would be different. You know, it'd
Yeah.
be a whole different kind of.
Because the Native Americans aren't coming to save you. Like
You never know because
Sorry.
they could have. You never know. It's the whole thing of like their society could be almost as built as us, but a majority of just Native Americans more than.
I think they'd just be fighting with each other.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a lot of civil wars during their like probably their
I
trying
don't
to
think
get
they'd
together.
be like one nation though. They'd be separate. It'd just be them fighting.
I think eventually there would be one nation because I feel like those tribes would all group up together in different kind of groups, like big mass groups, and eventually one would kind of beat the other, like the Civil War almost.
like
where the
take them
North-
over.
And we come in and bomb the place.
Yeah. We wait until they kill most of each other off, and then we come in and take
We just
over.
third party.
Third party, like PUBG.
Oh my god.
Third party noobs.
It's like you steal the kill.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, that's what I think would happen though. I think that they would eventually, like with a lot of civil wars, they'd eventually come together as one nation.
I don't think so. I think they'd be resentful. I think they were kind of resentful people.
Oh yeah, did you meet any of them?
Didn't they sacrifice
Yeah.
children and like rip their hearts
did
out?
you meet any of them?
No, you're talking about the Aztecs.
Which is
No,
still
Native Americans did too. If they believe
Yeah.
that their children like had some kind of sickness, like they were born on like a bad calendar year, they would sacrifice them in hopes for better luck.
I'm just
Oh,
saying
maybe.
that you never met any of these people, so how can you even
I don't
be
know. They
judgmental?
sacrificed their
My
children.
great grandmother is Native American.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh my god.
Thanks. Yeah. But I don't know. I think that it's definitely interesting to see. I think it'd be interesting to see how it would work because I think Canada wouldn't be a thing.
Not the Canadian.
America wouldn't be a thing. I think Mexico would be a somewhat kind of thing happening, but not really. But I feel like you have like a whole big portion of the Americans from Canada to America that are kind of trying to come together. And I think it'd be kind of one of the most super nations if they do get technologically advanced and have like
Who?
all that land. What?
The Native Americans?
Yeah, because they have all that land from like Canada to America. I'm saying, right before Mexico.
I think America should just take over Canada right now.
Yeah, we're coming.
How long were they able to kick people out for? Like for until they're like able to get this nation thing, or
You talking about Native Americans?
yeah?
So there was a few wars. There was the French Indian War, which was kind of like their first like major war, I guess you could say.
Don't forget the War of 1813, not
18
And
1812.
1814,
Ooh.
There was the War of 1812.
And
there
13.
was
and the War of 1813,
the French American War.
the War of 1814.
Okay.
Although the
And
French
15.
American
Look up
War also did have a lot to do with Mexico too.
But what I was gonna say was there's examples like the French Indian War had the guy Red Horse in it, and
Did he die?
He did die. He died because he got betrayed. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
Who saw that coming?
Yeah, he got betrayed by another Native American guy. But they were super close to kicking him out. I think they're like one fort away from like if they took the fort, I think it'd be kind of over. And then he got betrayed by another Native American, and kind of after that, like their morale dropped, and then they kind of pushed. And as well, the British like influenced a lot of different Native Americans that were with the French, fighting with the French against the colonists and the British to join the British because they said they wouldn't leave them alone. They let them live on like the other side of the Appalachian Mountains, and they wouldn't touch it, which happened. they British won. America kind of spanned to like New Orleans kind of territory, but no one could go over there because the British wouldn't allow it. So,
well, like even America now, like there's still like tribes, like sections of land that are like dedicated to that. Like if we didn't take over, like if America was never a thing and they just had tribes, I feel like another country would still come over and try to take over. Yeah. But like they wouldn't, like we let them have like their land and their tribes, whatever. You think like China would let them do that if they took over?
Maybe. It all depends. It's kind of like whatever we kind of want to make of it, you know.
They would probably bomb them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look what's happening in
You're
China
psycho.
now.
I'm not. China is.
They have like the Weber camps. Like,
I know.
you think they're gonna let them have their own land if they want this land?
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
Just throwing it out
in my
there.
opinion, like I in my world, I would probably see the states as in like individual tribes, and they would have like their own economy, their own sort of everything, really, because they were very smart people too, super smart. They taught the colonists how to fish. They taught them how to grow plants. Yeah. They taught them like almost everything. So I feel like without Native Americans as well, the colonists would not even succeeded.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In America.
Yeah, they have boats.
Who?
The colonists.
Yeah, but Native Americans had.
Yeah, but they have got big boats.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
So yeah, take your big boat on land and see how far that gets you.
They've done that. They've had boats that crash into land. It doesn't end well.
Really?
You ever see the boats that drive and then you just go into the water?
Yeah. Yeah, it's talking about like GTA stuff.
Talking about cars that just go into the water.
Yeah.
They just sink.
No, there's like tours of cities and then like you're like driving in a boat and then they just go into the water. You're in like BC.
That's nice. We all have nice dreams sometimes.
It's real.
All right. So I'm gonna do one more and we're going to break. I heard that.
Oh, I heard that too.
What if this is gonna be kind of like the only kind of like mystical one? What if dragons were real, basically in history, and they were around in the medieval times? Like a lot of people thought they were. Like, what would kind of happen to a lot of different societies? You think if dragons were real?
Are they tameable?
Maybe.
Were they around since like the very beginning?
I would think so. Yeah.
The beginning of time.
The beginning of time, dummy.
Then when?
And when?
Beginning of what?
How old's the Earth?
So let's just say that. Let's just say when the dinosaurs all went extinct, dinosaurs mutated in dragons, and boom, there we go.
Well, this
dragons.
doesn't really make sense.
We'll just say it makes sense. Somehow humanity survived this long.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'd probably tame a dragon.
Yeah. Honestly, I would think a lot of our current kind of military. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip over you. I know where you're going with this. I feel like a lot of our military powers would kind of be almost based off of them in the sense.
Yep.
Like realistically, instead of probably inventing the nuke, they would probably just more try to figure out.
I feel like that planes wouldn't be a thing.
Definitely not.
I feel like planes and helicopters would become null and void because if people were able to tame the dragon kind of thing like that, there'd be no need for those big metal planes.
I mean, also keep in mind, there was always there was a need for a horse until they invented a car.
Exactly.
So that's why I feel like instead of like kind of Da Vinci trying to create like all his gliders, it probably just would have gone straight from dragon to kind of plane with no real middle ground. So if anything, probably aviation technology would probably be further because realistically, we could have studied the dragon to see how they fly.
Yeah.
So then
from
there,
studied birds to see how they flew. Silly man.
We could have, but at the same time,
And
birds are a different
did.
proportion than what we were trying to figure out how to
did.
fly.
How's a bird fly, Matt?
How does a bird fly? Well, with all known laws of aviation.
Anyways,
bird flies
anyways,
continual-
moving on.
Planes could flap their wings.
Planes can flap their wings.
Oh, you never know, man.
Bree.
I feel like they try and just like outlaw them because they're too big, they're unpredictable. They'd put them all on one island, like chain them down.
Matt's too big and
And just study
unpredictable.
them.
We don't chain him down to an
I feel
island.
like that there would be like no more planes or helicopters. I think
I
they
think
would.
they're still big.
I think they would breed a lot more dragons, and I think they would just kind of grow certain dragons for certain things. And like I think dragons as well would become a kind of energy source, like thermal energy. I think if they use like the fire kind of energy from
Just gonna
dragons,
lock them up and make them breathe fire all the
Yeah.
time.
you never
Peter's
know.
gonna be
I'm
on
saying,
you.
but I'm saying, PETA.
Peter's coming after you.
Peter's coming after you after this.
But I was saying like things like that. I think technology would be a little different. Like no more need for planes or helicopters. I feel like people.
But I'm sure. I feel like they wouldn't just let anyone have them though.
No,
like
but I feel like people would like certain people. Like I think people would be able to like ride on the dragon's back as well as it's like moving between places, like a new kind of plane. Because you never know how.
They would be able to, but they wouldn't allow anyone to.
Maybe. You never know.
You want to hear my idea?
No.
Sure, Matt.
See, I think that I think that instead of these dragons are being normal things around the map of the world, that they would be more like gods to people.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be very, very rare for you to see a dragon. And then that would be like a sign. And I'd probably start the group of dragon worshippers so that we.
It kind of sounds familiar to the ocean
so that we
ocean
can,
masters.
But
Yeah.
I'm invincible.
We can. We can
You're
start,
invincible.
I'll start having dragon meetings, and once
What are you
once
gonna
I'm able
talk?
to,
What are you gonna talk about at the dragon meeting?
the newest dragon sighting.
Do you want
It's
like
Storm
Bigfoot.
Watchers.
What, you want to see what a dragon meeting's like?
to? Yeah. Do you want
When you like to know, buddy?
to? Do you want to act it out?
I'll be a leader like usual.
All right.
I'll be alpha.
All right. Do you
All
want me to start?
Yeah, ask away, man.
Hey, sir.
Yeah.
What are we doing here at this meeting?
Oh yeah, the dragons.
But what about
Yeah,
them?
you know what they did, right?
No, what they do?
Exactly. That's why you're here.
Can you
Now
just
sit down.
Can you give me a
Sit
little?
down, stand up, and get out. I'm done with your antics.
Can you like give me a little information about what we want to do about the dragons?
He's not a true
Oh.
believer.
You have to stay for the meeting, buddy.
All right.
All right, meeting commence. Your dragons have been doing a lot recently. All right, meeting end.
That's it.
All right, guys, go to your dragon posts. And start
Dragon
doing your
posts.
How to
dragon
train your
praise.
dragon.
How to change your dragon. All right, we're gonna have dragon mailers. Where's the dragon team?
Yep, and then we'll
It just
somehow,
sounds like a
we'll
Bigfoot
somehow
conspiracy
capture-
Where's the
Group.
dragon cops?
Once we capture one, we'll destroy every town and village we know.
Oh my god.
What's the?
What's the end goal?
Yeah, sure.
To make a dragon society where we can all.
Why you have one?
They're just oppressed, man. Like, look at them. They just have to hide. It's so
Alright.
sad.
All right. Great.
You're the PETA of dragons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag Dragon Lives Matter.
God, Matt, you're a psychopath.
Hey, man. It's a dragon cult leader. What do you expect?
You gotta do what you gotta
It's
do,
a
man.
dragon eat dragon
All
world.
right, we're gonna go on a break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. What?
I was looking up the tier list and it goes dogs I would eat.
Jesus.
Chihuahua, not worth it.
I Chihuahua.
Not enough meat. Pass.
Mhm.
Pit bulls are pretty prime.
Okay.
Great Dane. I feel like that'd be good.
Poodles have too much hair.
Too much hair. What kind of...
What kind
Are
of
you
meat
eating
are
them
you
all?
eating?
All right. All right, ready to start?
Yes.
No. Yeah, we're ready.
All right. What if Genghis Khan did not die, and he didn't die, and he was able to invade Japan and take over Japan during his time, and basically take over the majority of Asia that he didn't own before. So like mostly just Japan, and he like lived longer than he did. What do you think kind of Asia would look like?
Well, for starters, probably Asia's history would definitely change. There
Mhm.
would be all the dynasties would have completely ended.
Yeah.
They probably would have embraced more of the Mongols' kind of ideologies.
Yeah.
I'm not really too familiar with them, but I don't really think their kind of civilization was as, to say, like, more focused on civilization. I feel like they were more focused on conquering.
Actually, the Mongols were really, really advanced for their time.
Remember?
Yeah, they used techniques like fireworks and different things. They also were like, for their time period, super advanced for hygiene. They had bathhouses. They were kind of like one of the first people in Asia.
Did they have a shower?
No, they had.
Well, they're not very advanced. Sorry.
They had like hygiene areas where it's like people would go to use the bathroom instead of like kind of anywhere. They had like bathhouses where people would go, and they had like some of the biggest structures of that time period of like building.
Did they have an
wise.
Empire State Building?
Huh?
Do they have an Empire State Building?
No.
Then I think we're better. I'm better. America's better.
So the Mongols actually were pretty advanced. A lot of people think they're just because they're warmongers. They didn't really have a lot of things that made them advanced, but they were super, super, super advanced for their time.
Were they the ones who invaded China in Mulan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they were.
Just checking.
Like their tactics too for taking over places were
Tactics were very.
brutal. Were very brutal. They would literally circle a city and capture people outside the city, put them on a catapult, light them on fire, and launch the bodies into the castle. Not to like hurt the building, but
Fear
to
tactic.
show them like, this is what's gonna happen if you don't let us in. Like, we're gonna burn you.
One thing I will say, it would definitely have changed the way how history went.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just obviously, we're changing the past. But like,
What's funny?
No.
like,
It's funny.
I mean, like, we're looking at what is now considered a superpower, how that would have completely changed entirely.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, they would have then had several thousand years to have probably continued sort of their claw for power.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they would have pulled an Alexander the Great and just kind of died out.
Yeah.
Or maybe they would have just completely taken over the whole continent.
Yeah, Genghis Khan lived until he was like 60, and how he died was he just fell off his horse, and like kind of I think it broke a few bones, and he just died from the injuries.
It wasn't that strong then.
60.
I don't know why I was
Imagine
scared
being
of
betrayed
him.
by your own horse.
I could probably beat him in a fight.
Yeah, but like
I mean, his horse
one,
did.
It wasn't a fight.
I think like I could be wrong. We don't have Joe here to check me or not, but like I'm pretty sure like 1/3 of Asia's population is descendant of Genghis Khan.
Yeah, didn't he have a lot of kids?
He had a lot of
Oh, yeah,
kids.
he's like 500.
My guy was
Yeah.
a player.
He
He the
like
one who killed the wives?
I think so.
I'm sure at some point. There's
Maybe?
a lot of them who killed the wives, but
Yeah.
A 2003 study found evidence that Genghis Khan's DNA is present in about 16 million men alive today.
60
6
million.
tillion. I mean, 6 mil. I mean,
6
16 million.
16 million people.
2003.
6 trillion people.
Shut up. 16 million people are descendant of one guy. Insane. So if they imagine if he lasted longer, like lived longer.
It could probably be 60 million.
I was going to say 20, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, probably 20 million.
Am I a descendant?
Maybe. Have you gotten a DNA test?
Yeah.
This is a perfect transition to our sponsor, 23andMe.
They found out I was alpha, and they stopped the test. That's all they needed to know.
All right, Matt. My friend Dylan actually, he found out he was descendant of I can't remember his name. The guy that
Not very
discovered
important.
Greenland
Christopher.
and Iceland.
The Viking.
Yeah, it was a Viking guy.
Oh, Yortil.
Thor.
No, I think it was something like Redbeard, something like that. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but
Probably the DNA test just made it up. No.
Yeah, I guarantee you're 100% loser.
Ha!
Well, I have a DNA test to show that I'm not 100% loser, and yet probably less than 1% loser. You idiot. You cretin. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what a DNA test would look like if I put it right in front of you.
You're right. He probably won't.
But I think that I don't think the Mongols. I think they would last a good few more 100 years, but I don't think they would be good in today's society. I think they would eventually died out from some force in like China or maybe Japan rose up again, like one of the dynasties.
No
up there.
face. The no face force.
No faces.
No faces.
No, it's the
Yeah,
ancient.
I don't-
That's a
predecessor.
callback to the apocalyptic episode.
I don't think they would.
It's the
I
ancient
don't think they would
predecessor
die
of the
out.
no
I think they would
faces.
actually like capture everything. I think they would just. It'd kind of be like a really weird game of Risk, and they just start in Asia. They just start going everywhere.
You know, do you know why they failed going to Japan and they couldn't go to Japan?
I don't know. They're stupid.
Every time
Because of Mulan.
they made 2 attempts to go to Japan, and on both attempts, a tornado came and like wiped half their ships. So they had
Tornado?
or a hurricane, something like that.
See, that's just poor timing.
Why did
Yeah.
we start naming hurricanes?
Hurricane Katrina.
Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Andrews, Hurricane Michael,
Hurricane Angie.
Angie,
Angie was the recent one.
yeah, Hurricane.
They just go down the alphabet. You can say any name, and I'm sure there's a
Hurricane
hurricane.
Bree,
What about Z?
Hurricane
What about
Liam, Hurricane Zebra,
You act like a
Hurricane.
hurricane.
I do, 'cause I am one. Hurricane Trevor,
All right, hold on.
Hurricane
I
Derek.
have the answer. Why do we name hurricanes? Do you guys have a guess?
Because we want to humanize them, so
Just
then
to
that way we
identify
can-
them.
No, it's not because we want to identify them. It's because they want to
to
identify themselves.
remember them.
To give them pronouns.
Okay, go ahead and say it. Say it. I know it's just gonna be wrong.
To identify them.
Yeah. It's there's like 3 answers. The easiest one was storms are given short, distinctive names to avoid confusion and streamline communications. And people on island nation would name storms after the saint of the day from the Roman Catholic liturgical calendar for the day on which the hurricane struck.
Well, you know how they name hurricanes like boy, girl, boy, girl?
Yeah.
Do they still do that?
Yes.
Since,
They
you
still
know, what
do.
if they're gender neutral? What's if a gender neutral hurricane?
All right, what is going
where's
on?
the non-binary?
What is happening here?
What if it's a they,
Can we
them
get a-
hurricane?
Did you even ask
What if
the
it's a
hurricane?
Zer hurricane?
All right, we're not even doing this. We're not doing this.
Did you even ask?
You know what the hurricane rights activists are
All
about to come
right,
after us? now?
all right. Please, no.
Yeah,
We
but
got
how
2
do you-
communities.
how
How
do
did
you
we
get
get
around
onto
it?
this?
PETA and
No,
hurricane
no.
Which gender
No.
destroyed all of the ships?
No.
activists. Well, I mean, it was 2, so it had to have been a boy and a girl.
No. Stop.
The terrible.
Stop. Stop.
It's all over.
Okay.
Mongols.
All right, what happened next?
So, basically, what would you think would happen with the Mongolians?
I'd say that they get they conquer the Earth like Risk.
Mention the no faces.
The no faces. Yeah.
Callback.
You'd really want me to mention them, huh?
Yeah.
They're secret. I don't want to spouting all this stuff about them.
It's subliminal messages.
Oh man, rise up. Yeah, it's just the way the world works right now.
Nice. Caesar.
I'm still kind of sticking with my thing before, where I feel like they're gonna kind of pull an Alexander the Great. They'll take over probably a decent chunk, I would say, but
Yeah.
overall, I don't think they would last too long, just because worlds change, different kinds of societies are now beginning to get into play that we don't know how they would have reacted to the Mongols. We don't
Yeah.
know if they would have who knows? Maybe they would have been friendly with them, and maybe the Mongols could have lived on in their own separate life for a long while.
Maybe.
I just think they'll probably just die out.
I think it'd be like a Russian-Ukraine type of thing where they were a part of China and then they broke off and did their own thing, but now China wants them back. You know what I mean? Or vice versa.
Yeah.
Kinda
Kind of
who
feels
was
like
bigger.
Twilight.
Sounds like Twilight. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Brie. I think it's gonna be a thing of eventually they're gonna have they would be like a superpower thing, and then I feel like a bunch of places start breaking off over
Yeah.
time,
It's not you, it's me.
and then I think eventually they would probably just die out.
Why do you keep
Yeah.
winking?
But then they try and
Hmm?
take them.
You keep winking.
Winking, I'm just like, I don't know,
Just
I'm not
thinking.
winking,
Just a thinking face.
brother.
Your thinking face is winking.
All right. Anyways, all right. What if?
What are you confused about, Matt?
I can't. Yeah, I'll tell you guys after. It's nothing.
Okay. What if Napoleon did not lose power, basically?
Probably be all powerful. Boom. Next. I don't know. He's short.
So no, he
Maybe he
was
would've
not
grown.
short.
Just look at him.
He wasn't short.
Look at him
The
though.
trade is short on purpose.
So what? So for context,
I was there. Alright, go ahead.
Napoleon basically took over basically all of Europe, all the way to Russia from France, and he declared himself the Emperor of France. And he threw over a monarchy to basically make a different kind of monarchy.
Okay.
So basically, if he didn't, and then eventually his people kind of rose up against that and like sent him to an island, and he came back and then put him back there again, and he died on the island. So basically, like, what would history be like if he didn't lose his power, kind of thing, in France, and was able to keep kind of marching forward through Russia and all these other places? Like, do you think France of that time would be able to kind of take over most of Russia or all of Russia, and or still own all Europe? And like, do you think it'd be all kind of like under one kind of nation still, if he was able to run it the way he wanted to for a longer period?
Did he want it all under one? He wanted it all to
Oh,
be
yeah.
French?
He did.
Yeah,
It's too hard to invade Russia, man. It's all just cold.
he was actually doing really well against them.
He was
He
a
was-
very good leader.
He was really good.
But
Yeah,
main
he wasn't
thing-
short.
Just look at him.
the
He wasn't
main-
short.
Look at him. He was like 5'7".
Nah,
He was 5'7".
that's not short. You're 5'7".
Just look at him, dude.
Nah, I'm looking at him. It's you. Boom, done.
Well, below average height is short, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So like, what do you think, Bree?
I mean, yeah, I feel like he just would have kept pushing until someone knocked him down.
I think out of all the people, I think that Napoleon would have had the best chance of actually holding most of,
Yeah.
not maybe not all of, but the majority of Europe still under the French's like control.
Well, he controlled everything from France to Russia.
Basically, yeah.
How did it really come on? Like, how did these countries break off?
How do they break off? I
Yeah.
think the fall of his empire, because I think the fall with him leaving, and then it kind of like disintegrated pretty quick.
The countries
So they
that
just
were
went back
taken
to-
over by him, they just reestablished their old governments.
Yeah, as soon as
They
he
just reverted.
yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as he was kind of gone, they kind of figured it's in chaos, trying to figure out what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
That was like kind of the time where they decided, okay, they're in shambles. Let's reestablish what we were, and things just kind of went back to what they were before. Except, I think,
There was a huge economic recession, I will say. So
Yeah.
part of what I even wonder is, if he never left, I wonder how big of a superpower France would have really been. They could have actually have fought in World War One and Two.
yeah,
Well,
I
I,
mean,
feel like
Would
they
there have
didn't.
been World War I or II?
There,
yeah, they would have, because it would have been under him. But even like the things that changed were like Prussia, which then became Germany, changed to Germany. So like a few things changed because of him. And like we're talking about like the currency things, he started making like coins with his face on them too. And it was like changing the currency to have like his face on all the coins. So like he was changing a lot of the different things in Europe.
I feel like he didn't really control the other countries that well. Of like when he disappeared, they just reverted back.
Well, I think it was because of the chaos of him being gone and like the leader being gone that they were trying to figure out who to put in power.
No, ain't.
And I don't think anyone was really capable of keeping the power like he was at that time period, at
One
least.
thing Napoleon was extremely well known for was he did not like the idea of anyone else holding any position of power other than him. A
Yep.
lot of the people that were his followers, he rallied them up into believing that they were all equals among each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then that also helped with their morale, in that they all believed that he was not only their leader, but he fought as an equal with them.
Yeah.
So that's what really boosted him from a general to almost like a motivational icon for them. But
Yeah.
every time he left, it was just kind of, well, what do we do now? It kind of almost fell apart. It was like a weirder version of communism where everyone thought they were equal, so who's going to lead who?
Yeah, there's a few people that still want Napoleon back. That's why he was able to get back because of help. But the second time when he came back, or the first time when he came back, they kind of brought him right back to an island pretty quick, and he just died on the island, I'm pretty sure, from like the stomach bug or something like that.
Yeah, he died from
From a bug.
I believe they think that he like ate something that just kind of fucked him up and he
Yeah.
just died.
Yeah. They ate something that messed him up, like in his stomach and all that. Yeah.
I think we wouldn't have gotten the Statue of Liberty.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Can we replace Big Ben with a giant statue of Napoleon?
Yeah. So we would probably get the statue of Napoleon instead. 'Cause he's such a narcissist.
There'd be no Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa would have been the Leaning Tower of Napoleon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of, I think with him, he would have definitely held on longer. I don't think he would have held on to all the countries, but I think he would have held on to the ones he really wanted, which was probably like Germany.
Yeah.
He didn't have Britain, but he like Germany, like all the ones that were really close to him, like Spain, all those places. And because he married a princess from Spain, I'm pretty sure, and that's how they,
Probably Portugal.
yeah, from Spain, I'm pretty sure, something like that. So that's how they had like that union,
Yeah.
and that's how he kind of really got more powerful. And I think with him having Spain and Germany, I think he had like a really control over like the Denmark, Portugal, like the things in between all of them. So I think he would at least had like that still.
Yeah,
So-
it just would have been bigger. I don't think it would have been as big, but like.
It would have been big. It would have been bigger than what France is today.
He would have told all those artists to redraw him.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of being him short. Yeah.
That was just a low blow.
Man.
But
What?
Hey.
You have another one?
Yeah, I do.
I guess that joke kind of fell a little short. But
What'd you say?
Okay, so
no faces.
the next one is, what if Mexico still owned half of America? So you know how like Mexico owned half America.
Yeah.
We had Louisiana territory, and that was kind of until we had the Mexican-American War. So let's say like Mexico still was kind of like our neighbor, like in that sense, like had all that and still owned Florida. So they would own Florida and half of America.
Don't forget Puerto Rico.
Yeah, no, I was going to get there, and they had a Puerto Rico, and I was going to say they in this scenario give them Cuba as well. Like, kind of what would Mexico kind of look like, or kind of how would the world look like if today we still had half of what we have now, and it was kind of to Mexico.
Well, we would have never have tried taking over the Philippines then
Yeah, no.
to try to reclaim it.
Mm.
Puerto Rico would have never became a commonwealth, so we would have never had to. We already don't really help Puerto Rico, but we wouldn't have helped them even less.
Yeah.
We would have never. Who knows? Maybe actually presidents would have changed, because a lot of presidents throughout history were voted in office in favor of either supporting Mexico or preventing them. So
Yeah.
realistically,
The Manifest Destiny stuff. Like, Manifest Destiny failed in this regard.
So then, if that were the case, then probably different presidents would have been elected.
Mm-hmm.
We're then also then left with probably American government changing completely.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if probably some states ended up falling through because, like, for example, Connecticut was one of those states back during the Mexican-American War that was trying to separate.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for, I forgot what president was running, that then Connecticut decided to stay as a part of the Constitution. But I know especially a lot of those two presidents were the reason why some of the states didn't branch off.
Yeah.
So realistically, we wouldn't have even have been here. We would have been our own country.
Yeah. I think we would have a way better relationship than we do, I think, now with Mexico. Or we wouldn't. Because I feel like if Mexico had all that power, I think they would actually be one of the more superpowers in the world with all that land.
I mean, keep in mind, not only...
Or at least they would be on the same equal playing field as we are.
We weren't the only ones who ever invaded them. You had
Mm.
other superpowers like China who especially tried invading them a lot. So
Yeah.
if we didn't take them out first, probably there would have been an Asian-Mexican war.
One thing I was going to say is like the Zimmerman telegram. Have you guys heard of that from World War One?
It was intercepted in Mexico,
Yeah.
right?
So I was thinking maybe if Mexico had all that power they had now and like all that land, maybe they would have joined Germany in the war against us and would have invaded us during World War One. Because the telegram, because they had all that power and all that land, they were like really right next to us, like really close to us. So I feel like the potentiality of that telegram happening or attacking us would have been even greater. So.
No.
No?
I think that they would just... I think I would attack them. Me specifically, not America.
Just you attacking all of Mexico?
What are they going to do? They're not
throw
gonna-
the Statue of Liberty
Probably
at them.
take you in jail.
That's against my right. That's against my rights.
Well, you're attacking Mexico.
All right, well, when I go in it, it's the U.S.
No.
No, I'd probably say that there'd probably be a bigger drug trade than there is now.
You would think the cartel would have more power?
Yeah.
Because there's more
definitely.
space to have power.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with you.
And there'd be no Disneyland.
There wouldn't, because
No.
Florida would be gone.
And California.
Oh, yeah.
There'd be
California.
Georgia Disneyland.
You think Georgia...
Disneyland, Georgia.
Where do you think Disneyland would be if it's not in Florida?
New York.
New York? I don't
No.
think so. That's too much.
It's too cold. You
Yeah.
can't open it year round. It'd be like Georgia or
You probably put in like Alabama.
Probably put in like Washington.
Arkansas.
Something weird.
Washington would be in Mexico. Are you talking
No.
about D.C. or are you talking
Yeah.
about...
DC's
DC.
the capital.
You're talking about
Yeah.
Washington, D.C.
You can't put it in a cold
or
climate.
Washington. There's the state.
Yeah,
and
which
then
one
the-
are you, the
yeah.
state is kind of in Mexico then.
No, the D.C.
You can't put it.
Or do you think Disney
Commercial
would be
buildings
in
aren't
Mexico?
allowed in DC.
What?
Just try it.
I
Or
said
do you think we...
try.
Or what
Try
Bree
it.
just said, it would be in Mexico. We would
Well,
be able
Disney
to-
would be in
Yeah.
Mexico.
be able to go to Mexico.
It's Mickey
I
Mouse.
feel like that'd be really restricted.
Mickey
Mickey Mouse. He dresses
Oh
up
my
like a
God.
mariachi.
Bro would be like Speedy Gonzalez from Looney
He has a
Tunes.
poncho.
Yeah.
Welcome to my
I would
clubhouse.
say that
Preference, Caesar is...
I'm Puerto Rican.
He's
I'm
Puerto
semi-allowed to say this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a very high disdain
Yeah.
because of what they've... But yeah, that's also why I have a
Mickey
strong
Mouse.
opinion about Puerto Rico.
What are they going to call Pluto?
I'll be honest. In most, even just Hispanic cartoons, dogs never have names. They just call them perro, which just means dog.
German Mickey Mouse, Das Pluto.
That's Pluto.
Das Pluto.
Wait a minute. Then what about all the other Disney worlds across the world?
Oh my
Because
God.
realistically, the first one was here in the Americas. So would the rest of them be Mexican Mickey Mouse?
Hungarian Mickey Mouse.
They'd open Disney in Mexico, and the cartel would just take over it and
Oh,
smuggle
yeah.
drugs through it.
Oh yeah. You just see Mickey doing a line on the side.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse is the next Pablo Escobar. There's a mugshot of him.
God, I'd laugh, but that's funny.
I don't think Mexico would be able to handle all that land and power.
No,
I think they'd fall
I
apart
think
really
it'd
quickly.
be. I think corruption would even be more frantic.
Oh, yeah.
There, I feel like what Cesar said. More. I don't know if it's Cesar or Matt, but like more space, like less kind of ability to control.
Be a bad.
And
thing.
they're already now having a hard time with the small land they have. If they
I think
had
the border problem would be even bigger.
oh yeah, probably.
I think it'd be easier because if it's bigger, we'll probably have better relations. Therefore, immigration's not like as hard as a.
Yeah,
I
think people would be trying to leave though.
No, but you think about it, because if we're thinking like if tourism became more of a popularity in Mexico, because they had like California, they have Florida now, they have like Cuba, Puerto Rico, like all these countries or all these like places, like I think people would want to go to those places more. Like Hollywood would still be in California. Hollywood would happen in California.
I don't think it would though. I think it'd be in America. I think it would just be empty land in Mexico.
Well, I'm thinking maybe that we're more closely related or more friendly with Mexico in the sense of like we can have a Hollywood in Mexico and like work with them, have Hollywood or have like a Disney World in Florida, and
I think those things would still happen in America, just in a different place.
Or maybe they just. I feel like what could even happen is that if we don't have too much land anymore, we could probably form like some kind of treaty with Canada.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know,
expand upwards.
Yeah. Then whatever exists as a part of America can just merge with Canada.
What is wrong with you? It's always bomb them all. I'm gonna invade them. I'm a cult leader. It's always those three things.
Well, power is the most useful thing ever in a world.
You're a psychopath.
He's gonna grow up to be the snake people who control the government.
Yeah. I'm over. What?
You didn't know about the snake people that control the
Isn't
government?
it lizard people?
Lizard people.
No, the snake people control the lizard
that's the propaganda that the snake people put out.
Exactly.
All right,
lizard
we're
people.
My bad.
gonna go on a break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Hello.
What's up?
That was a quite lively break.
Yeah.
That was every break last time.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Hi, Matt.
Let's get into the next one.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you upset?
No.
Okay.
Just go into the next one, silly man.
What if Pop-Tarts never existed?
There wouldn't be diabetes in America.
The world would end.
What if fast food restaurants were slow food restaurants?
All right. We're just going to do two more, and then we're just going to call it after that. All right. So, next one. What if... So, the Vikings discovered America before Christopher Columbus did?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
Probably fake.
Nope. Not
Christopher
fake.
Just like the
Columbus did
moon
everything.
landing.
Not fake. Not fake.
No.
Not fake.
That's fake because I've heard that Christopher Columbus did it, actually.
Yeah, back in, what is it,
And he didn't
1492?
discover America. All right, what was it actually called? They discovered land.
Mer-
So stop with these stupid semantics. Who discovered who? It was all Christopher Columbus.
Columbus?
Columbus. Yeah.
Okay. And I want to keep celebrating Columbus Day, so you better shut up.
All right, Matt. I mean, that's it. We're just gonna move on, I guess.
All
Yeah.
right, what's next one?
Solved it easy
All right.
next.
But basically, what if instead of colonizing America, we had Vikings actually stay in America and colonize America? So, Matt, instead of like people from England colonizing America, like doing the Roanoke colonies and like all the colonies, it's actually Vikings. Do you think they would fare better with the Native Americans? Do you think they would have a better relationship with the Native Americans, or do you think they would kind of like try to like dominate them, like they've done to like almost every other kind of country?
I think the Vikings would dominate all the Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if necessarily it would turn into America at that point, because America turned into America because we fought against the British.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you fighting against the Vikings for? Like, are they gonna... I don't feel like they're gonna be as
Are they
controlling.
gonna make a new Norway or new Sweden?
Yeah,
or
I
new
think
Finland?
it'd be like that, because it's not like they're this big supplier. Like literally, America turned into America because they tried to tax us more for tea.
Yeah.
Like which just started everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'd be like that. I think it'd just be like another Finland or Norway or whatever else they controlled.
Yeah, Matt.
I don't think there would be enough of them. I think that America would probably be like separately owned by like 3 different people. Probably be like the Vikings, Native Americans, and like the other colonists. The ones that really discovered it.
Well, the Vikings discovered it like almost like 300 years before Christopher Columbus did. So if we're saying that these other what we're trying to say is like they had like almost a 300-year head start in this new land before Christopher Columbus came. So we're trying to say like they built these colonies here before even other people went there. So
Yeah.
I definitely feel that the Vikings would have definitely tried to do what we did with the Native Americans, where they pushed them back.
yeah.
So there's definitely that. I would even question if Britain would even have tried colonizing. I mean, the Vikings were an extremely aggressive, just sort of people.
Yeah.
They didn't like the idea of being invaded, and they loved the idea of invading others. So
Yeah.
probably if Britain tried colonizing them, they probably would have took it as a war sign.
Yeah.
So realistically, there probably would have been a war between them.
I
And
was thinking about it too. Is like eventually, Christopher Columbus would have come to whatever the Vikings would have called that land at that point, and eventually they would realize Native Americans and Vikings lived there. So it'd be kind of like what would kind of happen as well of when they had a 300-year head start. Stop making faces, man.
I think they would have
What?
tried to take it over anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at my phone.
I mean, I feel like with that 300-year head start, don't get me wrong, they would be able to build up a civilization, but the Vikings were very, very in favor of following the gods and how they fought. So they wouldn't have really tried advancing their weaponry too much. So they would have still stuck with rather rudimentary weapons, so like bows and arrows, hatchets.
Well, you never know. They could have eventually, because the Vikings did their whole like group died out pretty quick because they weren't organized. So I would think if they were to try to colonize this place, I think they'd be more organized and more kind of building towards something. I don't think they would have guns, because I think the first people that had guns were England and Spain and all that. So it's like so
even if they did colonize, Spain brings their guns. Like
Yes.
it's over for them.
but you never know. But like after a while, they could have learned like the weaponry.
They could have thrown their axe harder.
And I'm honest too.
Faster than a bullet.
If there's
Well,
one
yeah,
thing that they could have
if you
probably
try hard
adapted to
enough.
is the Vikings were extremely well known for kind of their more intimidation tactics.
Yeah.
So they might have never needed to fight. They could have.
Yeah, because you think about it too, like Christopher Columbus came to America, and he saw these people that were like different colored than him.
Broad-shouldered,
Well, yeah.
carrying hatchets, chasing at them.
Super lean, not like big and buff. If let's say like he came to shore and he saw a Viking like wearing like the fur coat, like bigger, I would assume like bigger, not probably more muscular than Native Americans, but like big enough with these huge iron axes that were not made of stone, and like these iron axes that were like refined with these iron hats. And like they had all Vikings had like tattoos, like colorful, bright tattoos. So imagine like you come on shore and you see these guys you've never seen a tattoo, never seen a Viking before. You see this guy with like a metal helmet, chainmail, like metal axes, with these bright like tattoos that were like scary, and this guy just like staring at you as he came to the coast.
And it's not just men too. The women were also extremely well trained in combat.
So like imagine like it would be crazy.
You're not just dealing with a civilization. You're dealing with a literal platoon of just a civilization built for fighting.
Yeah.
Realistically, even though they could be out technically armed, the way how they raised everyone to kind of fight like a Spartan.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the Spartans were so well feared until they died out.
Well, the Spartans, how they got all their best soldiers was kind of messed up, kind of hard. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that right now because it's kind of like a different thing. But the Viking.
They could take a bullet or two. Yeah. And plus, also keep in mind, Britain's guns back then weren't exactly M16s.
No, these were very inaccurate.
Very inaccurate. Things. That's why very non-lethal.
That's why they had back then they had
duckfoot pistols.
They had battle war standards where you had to march in a line and shoot each other and just kind of see who would win. So that there was kind of a respect thing with every war. Why? Because the guns were so inaccurate. If you ran, that you would never catch a guy. Basically.
All right.
Okay, that's
nice.
All right, but I think that
whatever happened to Jorgmundir?
Huh?
Jorgmundir?
Jormungandr?
Yeah.
Like the world serpent?
Yeah, whatever happened to him?
What do you mean?
Him and Thor
where'd
clashed,
he go
and he got
after
sent back in time.
to America?
So basically, Jormungandr, he's a world serpent that wraps around the whole world. So he's under the water, basically, under the oceans and everything. So
don't forget though, and
what about the other 30%?
So when Jormungandr rises from the ocean, the world would be flooded. He would have a clash with Thor.
Wouldn't the volume separate and actually be unflooded?
No.
I mean, keep in mind, this is talking about the tale of Ragnarok, and pretty much when Thor and Jormungandr are said to have clashed, Ragnarok is said to have happened, but they don't know if it's already happened or it's yet to happen.
Yeah, mythology is my favorite thing, Matt. So.
Well, my bad. But if it's so big and he rises out of the water, the volume displacement should make it actually lower in sea level.
He's kind of
True.
He peed. That's why.
No, he's not fully not his whole body's not under the whole. It wraps around the whole earth. So parts of his body's on land too. So he'll rise up a little bit, but then more of his body will fill in the ocean, which will rise.
Wait, so how'd they figure out about him? How'd they find out about him?
They asked him.
Yep, they asked him. They went to a snake and were like, "You're Jormungandr."
I could probably beat him in a fight.
All right, yeah, beat the world's biggest snake of all time versus Pat Miskin. Who's gonna win?
Instead of fighting him for brute strength, I'll just challenge him to a league match. And because
he has no arms. He has no arms. That's how is that
easy
fair?
Win.
All right, man. Bro's gonna fight a snake by playing League. Anyways,
our savior.
All right, I'm gonna just do. I don't even know if I want to do one more, but
yeah, I got one. All right, what would happen if instead of people teaching history classes, they taught future classes? Where they prepare you for your future instead of learning about stupid history.
Then history would repeat itself.
Exactly, Matt. History would repeat itself.
But think about it, then we could teach the future classes.
No.
Replace all the history classes with future classes, and hopefully we just start getting smarter.
No, I think history is so much more important than people like to think
future?
It is.
What about the future class?
Let that be for the scientists to worry about. Why have to...
Future class? Instead of history class?
Futurama?
I'm trying to say is history is one of the most underrated subjects ever. It teaches you so much of the world, so much of the world you don't even know about. It teaches you about cultures and why things are the way they are. And to sit there and say history is not important, yada yada yada, is kind of you're being a bigot because it is important.
I'd say philosophy is really important though.
It's important too, but history is more important because history, you're learning about how civilizations grew and fell, and why these places failed, and why these places are succeeding nowadays, and what we can do and learn from the fact of we don't have to go and fail like these powerful nations like the Aztecs or the Babylon.
So let's do future class for that.
No, what are you going to learn from the future?
Future class?
Yeah, like what history are you going to learn from future class?
Yeah, it's called future, not history.
What do you do in future class?
Yeah, but like Matt, what
do we do in future class?
Yeah.
Like what
we learn about
history
future stuff.
Yeah,
like,
but that doesn't
like what?
What's going to happen in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I can look at a newspaper and it'll tell me what people are trying to do, or look at a news article, look at
I can look at I can do the same for history.
Dude, no.
Yeah,
it's all
I can just look at
it's all in the past.
I can look at a newspaper.
You don't know what's gonna happen in the future, though.
Yeah, I do. There's a
Matt,
statistical
I can
analysis.
tell you that I'll go out to lunch tomorrow and yada yada, and my future could be different. I can get hit by a car tomorrow, and
And
there's
then
no,
you could just decide you don't
there's
want to
no
go.
way- There's no way to
There's
go.
a difference between personal future and year future of like what's actually going to happen based on statistical evidence and what's going to happen based on you waking up tomorrow.
I would rather learn about what's happened in the past so I don't have to repeat in the future.
What are you going to repeat? You're not going to take over a country.
I would rather know why these
Someone
countries
is-
fell and do
Someone
these things.
is-
Like why are we not going to teach people this important stuff? Like why are we not going to teach people why Native Americans have reserves and why they're not in like bigger
I don't know, I've
areas?
never passed a history
Why-
class, and I think I'm doing pretty fine.
Explains a lot, Matt.
Yeah, man, explains a lot.
I've been doing pretty well,
But
Debatable.
right?
these are the things that are important because you gotta learn why monarchies failed, why the Soviet Union failed, why
Yeah.
all these places are failing, and why these places are thriving. And to sit here and say history's not important and be like, well, I don't need to know why the Soviet Union failed. Yeah, you do, because you need to know why that sort of government doesn't work in sort of countries and why the monarchy doesn't work. To sit here and say history's not important, yeah. I think you're being ignorant to the fact that you don't want to learn anything.
But future's more important.
The future's the future. I'm going to worry about it when I get there. Why do I got to worry about it? We're building the
Planning?
future right now.
The future is
history's-
based on the past. You have to learn the past to build the future.
History's set in stone. History is set in stone.
I
It's-
could go
No.
through the entire world without looking at the past.
Yeah, man.
I could go through the entire.
And
I
that's
don't need a
what's
history
wrong
class. I
with
can just go through the
America
entire
today.
world.
And that is literally what's wrong. Exactly. This is wrong
What
with
would I
people.
do wrong without
That's
learning a
wrong
history
with
class?
people that is literally what's wrong with people in high schools and in colleges, that they complain about why they gotta take history, and then they take history and they complain, and they don't realize about all the people in World War I and World War II that sacrificed all your lives to be in a classroom and complain that these people, that your ancestors, your great-great-grandfathers or your grandfathers died in these wars to keep you in the classroom where you're being ignorant about.
I can't do anything about it anymore.
To sit here and say that it's unimportant, and to sit here and say that these people, that you don't want to learn about these people that died for you to have your freedom, is unfair and unjust to them. So, in my opinion, to sit here and say history is not important, you're basically slapping in the faces of every person that has died for you to sit here and say that.
I'd say that they'd be more worried about the future than the past.
I guarantee they'd be more worried about their future too, but they're gone, and I rather remember them for the great things they did in the past instead of worrying about what they could have done in the future, because they're gone.
Sure, but they also think that the future is really important. That's why I think future class is better.
No.
If I may add, dragon lives matter too.
Okay. But
Future class.
But overall, like, history's important. I don't think people give history enough credit. Like, people in America especially, you're so ignorant to the fact of people in Vietnam, people in World War I, World War II. Some people didn't even want to fight, but they had to fight for their country, and then they gave their lives for you to sit in your classrooms, in your history classrooms, in your colleges, in your elementary schools and middle schools, and you get to live your day by day, get to hang out with your friends all the time, and everything's fine and perfect. But you don't even realize the things that other people had to do in the past: sit in trenches with rats and watch their friends decay for hours on end and days and weeks. So you should be happy with what you got, because trust me, the people in the past wish they could be where you are now in the present. So be grateful, learn about it, get over it, and just take a history class every once in a while.
Well, that logic doesn't make sense.
Okay, Matt.
I don't
Anyways, we're gonna call it for the night. Basically, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Caesar, for
Of
being
course.
here. Thank you, Matt and Bree, like always being here.
Anytime.
I always love hearing Matt's insightful information.
That makes one of us.
Once I get to the
Yeah,
Once
really
I start-
is just one of us.
once I start
Once you
teaching
get your future
class,
classes, I will take a future class. Until
take
future
one,
class
and you'll be
is
like, "Wow, I needed all this information."
yeah, I needed none of that.
Yeah.
Let's make a deal. If Matt passes a history class, you have to take a future class.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I will do it.
Yeah.
If
I'm
a
never
future
gonna know-
class, if a future class becomes on the school roster's agenda, whatever,
Let's make a petition.
Yeah.
I will take a future class. But until then, I am taking the history classes I am taking. I love them. I'm a comms major and also taking some history classes too because it's important.
Once on the test, I remember.
Okay,
on
thank you
which
for
day
watching.
Abraham Lincoln wiped his butt.
basically-
I will pass.
Basically, we're on YouTube and Spotify. What are we? What's our Spotify and YouTube, Brie?
Lounging Around Podcast.
And what's our Instagram, Caesar?
Lounging Around Podcast.
No, lounging
Lounging dot around dot
Why
podcast.
is there so many dots?
I don't know. I gotta
I don't
ask
know.
my sister about that.
Is there
Bro's in
another
the
Lounging
corner.
Around
What is he
Podcast?
I
doing?
don't know.
He's reflecting
He's
on.
counting all the glass panes.
No, he's trying to figure out the future of the glass.
All right.
The future class.
Okay.
Future class.
Thank you for listening. Sorry if I went a little rant about history. Thank you and good night.
Right there, mate. You're listening to the Lounge Around podcast. Stick around for more.